It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And now it's time for my favorite part of the show, wherein I guess what's in Tim's background. And Tim, it's going to be the most joyous tableau I've ever seen in your background. It's going to be J.B. Pritzker sitting down with a bunch of National Guardsmen in Trump Tower, breaking bread over the peace in Gaza. Everybody's happy. Is everybody happy? Am I right?
Well, you're pretty close. It's the new Trump coin.
Ah, okay. Yes. Oh, the Nobel Prize. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Hi, this is Donald Trump. Get my new coin. It's just out. It's
totally
only available for a limited time.
I love it. So, listeners to this podcast and viewers as well, I'm pretty sure I've said within the past few weeks that I was wondering where Kushner and Ivanka were. And I thought, because they didn't have the prominent show during the campaign or, part of the administration. And I thought that they basically were the ones who had Trump's ear on Israel, but in the background because they didn't want to make it look too Jewy. You know what I'm saying? So now it turns out that Jared Kushner engineered this whole deal, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess so. I didn't read that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like that's what happened. And one wag was saying, well, it would be funny because you know how the Nobel Committee can't stand Trump, that
give it to Jared.
They'll probably bypass him and give it to Jared. Yeah, exactly. So, it's an interesting thing. Just did it on a personal note because what is this podcast if not all about me and Don Lemon and Mark Jangro and who else, so I go on this annual golf trip. All right. And, for me, it's, pretty heavy kern, because they don't accept Trump Nobel gold doubloons. So I go on this annual golf trip. And this year I had this feeling I don't really want to go because last year I'm sitting there right at, the first day. I'm sitting at a table with these guys I know and, I like and everything like that. They're not strangers. They're my friends. But one of them doesn't know, only sees me on the golf trip. The guy sitting across me and the friend next to me start bashing Trump. Okay. So, and I just eat it. I don't say a word because my blood is boiling. All right. So I don't say anything. But a couple of days ago, I was thinking, I can't go on this trip. I'm just going to be, I know it's going to come up. And especially now when I think that not only am I a guy who voted for Trump 3 times, but not only do I think he saved Israel's ass with the bombing of the nuclear installations in Iran.
I think he saved a lot of asses beyond.
Now
Israel.
we're on the cusp of a Nobel Prize, and they still will bash Donald Trump, and I'm going to explode. And so I backed out of the trip because of that. And I just didn't want to be with them because I can't stand it when I go nuclear, and I have a tendency to do that. I mean, Tim, you're a comedian. Isn't comedy and isn't stand-up comedy just a kosher channel, as it were, to funnel rage? I mean, that's what it comes down to. But don't you just sometimes you almost want to become like Colbert, who has 500 writers to have him write expletive deletions nowadays. So I mean, but you're always trying to find a way to do it in a funny way with sarcasm or being sardonic.
Yeah, sarcasm and lighten up the mood. Find a way to.
But what I can't stand, I don't know where this comes from in my childhood or whatever, but you're sitting there across from a guy, and he's like he just figured well, anybody in the room who's with me, I mean, it's got to be sane and rational, and I can't possibly be sitting with someone who voted for Trump. And I tell you that this is the reason that 74 or 75 million people voted for Trump. It was because of the guy sitting across from you who thinks, well, you have to be a nut. You have to be a fascist to vote for Donald Trump. And now, especially since I think, and remember, a lot of these are Jewish guys, okay? And though they're pro-Israel, and they don't think Israel committed genocide. And you know that you weren't going to get anything from Kamala Harris. All right. They would have dragged this thing on forever until little by little Israel would have been nickel, shackled, and dimed to death. Okay. And they won't recognize it. They won't. So I decided I'm not going on the trip.
You're assuming that they wouldn't recognize it, Bruce. I am speculating that you are missing a prime opportunity to gloat. It's
you know what?
You actually go there, and I mean, and if they are pro-Israel, like you say, it's just best thing for Israel. Oh my gosh, a non-nuclear Iran, Hezbollah leadership in Qatar removed.
Blah 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 blah. By the way, welcome to Bruce's Jews News. Yeah, one of the greatest graphics in all of podcasting, in the top 3 million graphics. Okay, so
I miss HTML.
Yeah. So, excuse me. All right. You know that I go to these reform synagogues for free in a Zoom thing during the high holidays, and you get what you pay for. Okay. You get these rabbis, as somebody once said, Reform Judaism is the Democratic Party with holidays. Okay. The guy, the rabbi, last week in the high holiday services was saying the next day he was going to be at an ICE protest downtown. Okay. That's the kind of thing that you're dealing with. And I've been dealing with this for like 50 years. I mean, the first reform rabbi that I heard was lecturing to us on Richard Nixon and how bad Watergate was. I mean, it's just like, thanks to the inspiration, bub. So little did you know that, like 50 years from now, Barack Obama, our first black president, is going to be talking about how liberal Nixon was to Bill O'Reilly. But in any event, at the end of this, near the end of this guy's sermon, the rabbi actually said, first time I've ever heard this, thank you to those of you who don't agree with me for listening to me. To me, that was the biggest concession I have ever heard from these ideological zealots. And it was like, yeah, okay, all right. These are guys who a couple of years ago were praising Greta Thunberg, for her work on the environment. And interestingly enough, she disappeared like in the last couple of years from any mentions in any sermons. So to me, that was a victory. We're taking the victory lap right now because I mean, I assumed, while we are talking, nothing has actually happened yet, but I assume the hostages are going to be released. The favorite line I have so far is from Noah Rothman of National Review. He refers I believe he refers to all the European countries. By the way, Israel's really getting tight and close with all the Middle Eastern countries, their former enemies. It's the European capitals, which of course have gone anti-Israel and want to recognize, the two-state solution, which he calls a vestigial shibboleth. I mean, can I take vestigial shibboleths for 1,000 Alex? I love when you put together two words like that. They're difficult, vestigial shibboleths. Excellent. But anyway, fascinating to me, what is going on. I don't recall quite this much jubilation. Usually, I mean, the fact that Israel gets to stay in Gaza at all, it's going to pull back. But this is no two-state solution. It's a clear victory. I mean, that's the way I'm hearing it. If you hear different, You want to be different.
A clear victory
Speak
for
now or
Israel.
forever hold your peace.
Yeah,
Yeah, clear victory.
absolutely a clear
Yeah.
victory. I mean, when they took out the leaders in Qatar, I mean, that was probably the end of the war right there. I mean, yeah, there was
The thing is
stuff
it
going
wasn't
on.
Qatar wasn't considered. Yeah, I'm sorry. Qatar wasn't considered, successful. But as somebody pointed out, Qatar got really nervous when they saw, oh wait, they're coming over here now. Okay, let's. Oh yeah,
Well, it wasn't just
and
Qatar being nervous. I think all of Hamas said, "Wow, they could do that." They knew where
yeah,
those. We thought those guys were hidden. We didn't think that. We thought we didn't know people knew they were in Qatar.
yeah. I got it. And of course, it strikes home to me because, as you know, I went to the University of Qatar Evanston campus, and maybe I could start rooting for the football team again. Assuming that the Northwestern University and others relent and crawl on their hands and knees and start treating students okay. But anyway, it's great. It's terrific. I what do you think? Do you actually think Trump's going to get a Nobel Prize?
I don't know how they're going to be able to deny it from him at this point. I mean, it would look like he was headed for one before he got this deal signed. And this kind of puts the cap on it. All he needs now is Ukraine, and he's got a royal flush. If he gets Ukraine and Russia together to sign a deal, and Nobel still ignores him, it's the prize is worth just how much you speculated it was when they gave it to Obama.
Well, and I was just thinking, Obama. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he get the Nobel Prize for being black? I mean, I think that's what it was, right?
For what?
Huh?
For being black?
Yeah. What did he do?
He got elected.
Yeah. Okay.
That was it.
Just fine. Part of the reparations. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Okay. I've been kind of out of the loop. And this is going to be a new segment where I asked him, what is this story all about? Because so Jack Smith actually was spying on 8 GOP senators.
Yeah, Jack Smith subpoenaed the record of 5 GOP senators. The phone records of 5 GOP senators. Didn't apply for a warrant. Didn't use a fake dossier to get a FISA warrant. Didn't do any of that. Just subpoenaed them from AT&T, and AT&T, being a good citizen, just handed them over. And why they had them?
And what was the basis for that? Well, yeah. What was the basis? Anything?
They subpoenaed the records of 8 GOP senators. It had to do with the DC election investigation. If you remember, Jack Smith had 2 cases that he was working on. Number one, that Trump had stolen documents, and that's the one that justified the Mar-a-Lago raid. The other case he was working on was that election interference on January 6, 2020.
Okay.
And he was essentially going after the insurrection angle, that he was in charge of it. So. And then also, I think tied into that were the alternate elector slates that had been put together.
Yeah.
All the other things that had been done prior to January 6th, in hopes that they could get someone to look at the election results in 4 or 5 cities. Again, revisit them and
is anything going to happen to Jack Smith over this?
They're thinking it is. They're thinking that they're thinking that they're going to appoint a special prosecutor to actually look on why the heck did you do that? Yeah. Because I guess they thought that these, on the surface, that these 8 GOP senators were connected to the alternate elector scheme, and that and that they thought that they could maybe, if they indicted them, they could, get them to flip on Trump. And I mean, that's the surface thing, but behind that, I'm guessing that they wanted to attack him politically.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of DC, so you always hear about crime is down. They're always showing year after year, and there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. But I mean, apparently in DC, I mean, there's evidence now that these numbers really work. That these, lower level police people were being told by the upper guys uh, to make certain misdemeanors or not felonies, things like that. And it's just a bunch of BS. And if it reminds me of when your hero, David Muir, tried to cite the FBI statistics showing the crime was down, and Trump, normally, not the wonk that's looking these things up, actually came back to him and said, "Oh no, those statistics don't have the reporting that is necessary." And he was actually right. It's really bad when you can't beat the so-called imbecile Donald Trump. And you're in the media, but
Well, I think the way that the general public saw that moment is different from the way you and I saw it, Bruce.
oh,
We
okay.
saw we saw it as Trump got one over on David Muir, and I think the general public are, oh, that guy thinks he knows more than David Muir. What an idiot. Obviously, David Muir is well aware of the FBI statistics and their
Oh,
basis. And
God. Oh
yeah, I
my
think there was
goodness.
actually, wasn't there, you're a big fan of The Wire? Wasn't there a thing in The Wire where they couldn't get crime down, so they just found a way to get the numbers lower?
Well, I'm sure that happened over the 5 or 6 wonderful seasons because they were constantly. Well, that was the basis of the show. It was always the mayor trying to get on the police guys to get the numbers down, and
Yeah, that was
and it,
one way they got the numbers down, was just to lower the numbers.
right.
And
And then
it's
remember that one where the guy, the black captain in one of the neighborhoods, just made like a, a drug,
Amsterdam.
Drake's, yeah, a drug safe zone. And forget that.
It's I don't,
Yeah.
I've been saying that that's been a great idea for years. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just designate certain parts of the country crackdown? And where's your
Yeah.
crackdown? You can go there, you can buy all the crack and use all the crack you want. And it's a problem that Darwin would rectify in probably less than a decade.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it's like these this group of people. I mean, there's they're like the Shakers. They're so absurd. They this new group. They're such an awful cult, radicals and everything, but they're not going to reproduce themselves. Okay. So, I mean that
I'm not sure what you're talking.
I'm trying to remember what that group is right
I
now.
have no idea what you're
I
talking
will
about.
get it. I'll look it up. But yeah, it'd be helpful if I actually had some names in my hand. I have the names of 205 members of the Communist Party right here in my hands. Said Senator McCarthy.
Wasn't there an associate of yours that you always bring up that did not like The Wire because it was just full of stereotypes?
It was not what? That's a good one. That is Armand White, the National Review movie critic, who
Oh, okay.
always hated the things that everybody. Oh yeah, that's good. I like that. And then, but he did and like these things that nobody ever heard of. Armand White and I broke up a little bit. Actually, the last thing I ever talked to him about on Twitter was Kendrick Lamar, the halftime show. I mean, Kendrick Lamar, who has paved the way for Bad Bunny, apparently at the Super Bowl. And he was trying to educate me on why Kendrick Lamar was good. And okay, fine, I did that. But then I disagreed with him on something, and I can't remember what it was, and he blocked me. And I tried to do it in the nicest way, but some people, some people are so sensitive. Like me, for example, when somebody mentions how Trump is a fascist, and I just walk away from a 4-day golf vacation. So I understand. I'm very sensitive. It's sensitive too.
But all I was going to bring up is that just that the DC numbers just kind of reinforces that stereotype we have
Sure.
of Atlantic cities, Atlantic coast cities that fudge their crime numbers to make the town look safer than it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It does matter what you feel on the street. And a lot of people don't look at statistics, but they don't feel like it's safe to take the L downtown. And Pritzker can say all he wants about how safe Chicago is, and that the National Guard has to run, and Trump has to run through him. But
yeah, sure. Jogging on the trail by North Lake Shore Drive at 6:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Well, I could hear the pavement cracking right now. Oh my goodness. Oh, speaking of Pritzker, WGN-TV News tweet that I saw a few days ago said it had an exclusive with Pritzker. Okay, it says, in an exclusive interview with WGN, Governor J.B. Pritzker talks about immigration crackdowns in Chicago in response to personal attacks from the president. And, I love when these stations call things exclusive, because then the next station does an interview with them, and they all call it exclusive. The word exclusive has lost its meaning, but I hope in order to get this sit down.
Well, does breaking news mean anything anymore?
Nothing. Neither an exclusive nor breaking news means anything. But I was just hoping, in order to get sometimes you got to trade things. I was hoping that the WGN reporter didn't have to get down on his or her knees to service Governor Pritzker. But if that person did,
if they did, I hope they had like a stick to prop up the belly.
Well, that, and also it would be nice to just tell the governor what it looks like down there, because he may not have ever seen it himself. So, oh yeah, I'm back. I'm cruel and I'm back. All righty. Donald Trump. I always view like Trump as kind of being Oval Office funny. You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
He could work.
I still attest he's the funniest president we've ever had.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of a low bar.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, Washington couldn't be telling these stories. Like, you see these teeth that I got from pulled out from a slave and put them in my mouth. That's not a good setup. I don't think. But
I think Washington could have made
learned
a joke.
From Tim.
I think Washington could have made a few jokes. It's these two teeth have something stuck behind them. I wonder what that is. And then I'll let you put your own racist joke there.
Oh, okay, good. Right. Anyway, but I don't think he's funny. I mean, I think he's Oval Office funny, but every time I just read that the Tim Cook of Apple is going to step down, and every time Trump would call him Tim Apple, I just thought that was, for some reason that tickled my funny bone. Okay, so Tim Cook is stepping down. But he called him Tim Apple. I guess it's just funny that that the leader of a $4 trillion enterprise doesn't even get his name pronounced or spoken correctly. Hey, speaking of guys like that, did you see Josh Hawley? I mean, he very populist. He's railing against the Amazon CEO for getting $40 million a year. Okay, when the average employee gets $38,000 a year. I mean, who needs Mamdani to take over New York City when you got Hawley? Am I missing something here?
I didn't hear him say that. So
yeah, apparently he did. Yeah. So
it's the Hawley news I saw this week was his altercation in the hallway with Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay.
He was doing the rounds, gloating about that. I did not know he complained about how much Bezos made.
Hey, you know what? With AI these days, maybe it was just a fake Holly account. I don't know. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. So Bobby Kennedy Jr., this is a story I didn't have in the rundown, but I think it's very important, a scientific study that he just concocted in his head, I guess. Circumcisions causing autism. Now, I didn't read the story, but and I didn't check to see if it was from the Daily Mirror or from the National Enquirer, but I'm thinking, where's the connection? You're circumcising the head of the penis, not the actual, your head.
Some might argue there is no difference.
You know what? You know what would be interesting? Like a circumcision cut for a haircut would be, kind of like a bald look, but nothing but stuff on the sides.
Kind of like a monk. Kind of like the old,
exactly.
Kind of like the old monk trim.
And of course, interestingly, because the monks take the vow of chastity, I think there's but anyway, a lot of stories I don't read because I don't understand that science stuff. Where's the link between autism? I mean, maybe because there's a lot of screaming, and that throws you. The paroxysms affect your mentality for the rest of your life. I can't imagine.
Well, I think what it is you have to look at people with autism and what do they have in common. I mean, isn't that how the science usually works?
Right.
So is there a high amount of people on the spectrum in the Jewish community?
I'm not that I know about that. And by the way, I mean most everybody's circumcised nowadays, I guess. So.
Well, not in Europe. I mean, you could actually you could do a study in Europe.
Now, I thought he also said at some point, I don't know what I can believe that he did believe that you should be circumcised at age 18. So, and you know what? I'm thinking. If we waited till 18, I mean, I couldn't because it's a religious right, but if we waited till 18 and you had a circumcision, wouldn't that be like a rite of passage? So, then you do deserve to vote. I mean, if you could get through that, all right.
If you waited till 18, it would never happen.
You're an adult.
If you waited, it would never, ever happen. It would. No, that would be the end of it. That would be the end of circumcision among the Gentile community.
So. Yeah.
All right, Bobby, there's something else. I was going to tell an old joke, but I said, that joke's not that funny.
Go ahead, knock yourself out.
There's two people lying in bed next to each other in a hospital ward, and one person goes, "Oh, I'm in pain." He goes, "What'd you have?" He goes, I was just castrated." He goes, "Oh, wow. What happened to you?" He goes, "Well, I was circumcised." And the other guy goes, "That's the word."
I like that.
Okay.
I'm going to use that one. Well, I have only one joke that I've ever been able to remember. You know my joke, right? The grasshopper. The grasshopper.
Oh yes. The grasshopper ordering a drink.
You have a drink named Larry? Yeah. Okay. So, all right, and Trump. In addition to this, today they were recording this being Leif Erikson Day. Trump is bringing back Columbus Day.
Well, do we mention Leif Erikson Day?
That's nice.
It's a happy Leif Erikson Day, everybody.
Yeah, right.
It's a new holiday. I don't know why we need it. I mean, it was there was really no contribution of Leif Erikson.
A lot of people used to claim that it was Leif Erikson that discovered America, not Columbus. We should have like competing parades, where they collide with each other and. maybe get into a little swashbuckling war.
It's a Columbus.
I was
no,
once
it's Leif Erikson. No, it's a Columbus.
exactly Columbus, Erickson, Columbus. So I was actually once in a Columbus Day parade. Okay, the first year I was at Channel 5. I mean, this is like 19 years ago. I was like ordered to be in the Columbus Day parade, and so I was on the.
Did you have to do the Pride parade too back then?
Did not have to do. Thank goodness. I mean, I would love to have been asked. Maybe I wasn't. I just
not like there's anything wrong with that.
I might have been busy those 30 years. I don't know, but anyway, I was in the Columbus Day parade. I swear the reviewing stand was longer than the parade itself. So
wow.
It was pretty short. But yeah, I was in the Columbus Day parade, and so we've got. Did we mention this? Comey, Letitia James. We were talking about Smith being indicted. I mean, it's like
Letitia James was just indicted.
Trump is indefatigable. Loving the law warfare. Yeah, it's it'd probably come back to bite us.
The Letitia James is especially delicious because she went after him for some ridiculous charge that he, said that Mar-a-Lago was worth more than 18 million.
Right. But all the cases were bad. Even the cases that were good were bad somehow. She
went after him on claiming to cheat to save money on a mortgage, which it's just especially delicious.
It is sweet. Anyway, so this end wokeness tweet, Kamala, I guess the presumptive nominee for 2028, has come out with a book, and she's promoting it. And she said that the 2024 election, was the closest one in the 21st century. And as one wag noted, the Electoral College was closer in 2004 and 2016. The popular vote was closer in 2000. So what in the world was she talking about? And now I will give her this. If you don't count the year 2000 as being in the 21st century, which I was always a stickler about.
I'm with you as well.
Yeah, 21st century started in 2001 because we didn't start counting in the year zero. We're in the year. But that was all confusing, especially around Y2K, when we thought the world was going to end anyway. So we didn't have to deal with that. But she might have a slight point in her favor there. Did you see? I love this. I maybe too involved with the media. I mean, I love Barry Weiss taking over CBS. You've got a left wing lesbian, Tom Brokaw, making the announcement. A left wing lesbian is taking over CBS. And the left is actually absolutely going ballistic over that, because she might actually allow the other side to speak or have it say, and they can't stand it. I mean, the reaction has been absolute hysteria, and I was just. I mean, does that resonate with you that Barry Weiss is taking over CBS, or are you so out of the legacy media mold that you don't really care about that?
Oh, no. I think it's delightful. I did not know she was a left wing lesbian. I'm still stuck on that. That it's why the heck would they pull Tom Brokaw out of retirement just to say that? It makes me. I was still puzzling over that, Bruce.
Well, she's going to take over, and if only Pat Summerall were still around to say 60 Minutes will not be seen in its entirety. It won't be seen at all because Barry Weiss is too busy fumigating the place. Poor Leslie Stahl's notepad, murder, she wrote on its last page. Yeah, she. Poor Leslie Stahl. I mean, would you just love all these people to just be thrown out on their keisters? Walter Cronkite.
And have Tom Brokaw announce it. Leslie Stahl was thrown out of CBS.
Leslie, why does every name have an L in it? Morley Safer. The wonder I could work at CBS. I worked at NBC where, I would point, send it to Tom Pettit. There's no L in that. Sander Van Oker, I can handle that. But you got Leslie Stahl. So was kind of hoping that upon the news, Walter Cronkite rolled over and smashed his glasses in the empty eye sockets of his head. So I mean, I'm not too close.
Wow.
So yeah. Good news there. Everything's coming up roses for us there. It got a WGN has a tweet that somebody was strangled to death. Okay. And I'm thinking, who is on the copy desk there at WGN? I mean, is it Bozo, Sandy the Tramp? But the tweet said that this person, I mean, it's a horrible story, but it said Hammond woman found strangled to death. I mean, it's like one of the first things you learn. If you want to impress your friends that you know something about the English language, you don't say strangled to death. But okay.
No. Yeah. What do you say?
You just say, because strangling means death. So, okay.
Well, no.
Anyway. Huh?
No.
Absolutely.
Not if you're sexually adventurous, it doesn't.
Look it up. I'm sorry. Oh, man. All right. We'll be back after these words from our sponsor, the makers of Alka-Seltzer. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slingle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slingle on the Weekly Wrap. You don't by any chance happen to watch Animal Kingdom? Do you, little Timmy? Do you watch Animal Kingdom? Do you watch it?
I don't. Mrs. Slagle does though, so I've seen bits. I've seen bits and pieces of it.
I know why she's watching. Okay.
Yeah.
Every one of the crooks has got a 6-pack, if not a 12-pack. Okay. Sure. I mean, they are. Look. So we get to see. I thought when my wife said, "Let's watch Animal Kingdom," because my wife loves like the veterinarian, Dr. Powell or whatever. She loves animals. Mm-hmm. I thought it was about animals.
Sure.
I didn't
thought it was going to be Mutual of Omaha.
I didn't think it was going to be the human animal. Okay.
The lion takes care of her cubs, just like Mutual of Omaha takes care of.
Thank you, Marlon.
Family.
Marlon Perkins joining us right now. All right, we
he was director of the Lincoln Park Zoo. Did you know that?
Yes, sir. What?
Bruce, did you just find the show? It ended 3 years ago.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, so many shows. I mean, don't tell me. I hear there's a show about a mythical kingdom called Game of Thrones that just came across the transom. No. So yeah,
that's crazy because my wife just found it too. So apparently you, the two of you, have tapped into the Netflix algorithm equally,
where they're just trying to promote it to people who aren't really hip. Okay, and so we get to season 2, episode 9 of Animal Kingdom, and I figured, okay, I can take 2 more episodes of this. Mission Impossible style robberies executed by a team of 6-pack psychopaths. But then I learned, looked on Google, it ran for 6 seasons.
Oh.
I mean, by season 6, one of these surfer dudes will have literally jumped. But yeah, they're basically surfer dudes with a mom played by Ellen Barkin.
Oh yeah,
they pull up all these heists.
What's her name? What's the mom's name? She's got a funny name that you wouldn't call your mom, like Pappy or something like that.
I forgot her name already. I mean,
man.
And it's compelling because a lot of Oedipal complexes and everything. I mean, one of this guy Pope certainly feels like murdering his mother because she murdered a sister-in-law. And it goes, and everybody's cheating each other out of dough, and there's so much drinking and drugs, and I'd say not as frequently as Howard Stern in his heyday would mention breasts, where he did like breasts on the eights. But if I put my watch to it, I'd say every 10 or 11 minutes there's some kind of sex scene. Although they don't really show frontal nudity. Yeah, a lot of tushies and a lot of lissom bodies. But so you got the sex, the violence.
I've watched every episode. It's Smurf.
Oh, okay.
It's Smurf, by the way, Tim.
Spoiler alert. Okay.
It's Smurf. That's Smurf. That's her name.
Yes.
Smurf, yeah. But it is worth it to stick with it. And there are some, without giving anything away, there's some plot twists and stuff that you wouldn't expect.
Is there any point at which like Arthur Fonzarelli comes in and jumps over a shark? I mean, they bring, what shows really get bad is when they bring guest stars, celebrity guest stars. They don't do that, right? Or is there any point, like where George Clooney walks through?
They do. I'll say this: they do what The Sopranos did, if that makes sense, where there's nothing is sacred as far as what's within the show, cast members, everything. Nothing matters. They just go down wild tangents with storylines.
All right. So
I just heard. Speaking of that, the celebrity appearances. I just heard totally off topic. Yeah. Paul McCartney wanted to be in an episode of Seinfeld.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and had his manager contact Larry David and Jerry to say that he would love to be in an episode. And they got together. They said, there's no way we could have Paul McCartney without writing a Paul McCartney comes to Seinfeld episode. And they said that just seemed disingenuous. It seemed, for me, correct. It's when The Simpsons started going bad is when celebrities wanted to appear. And they said, thank you, Sir
like
Paul.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah, exactly. And they said, thank you, Sir Paul. But no,
that's great when you can dismiss Paul McCartney. One of the top highlights of my career was, I've talked about it, right? My interview with Paul McCartney on TV.
Boy, I don't seem to.
I don't want to bore you with it. Yeah, I'll tease you with it. Okay.
Well, maybe we can stretch this one out for 6 months until we go on vacation.
Let's stretch it out
again.
for 6 months. All I can say is that we had him on on a satellite interview and the morning crew on Channel 32, and he was doing other interviews throughout the country, and he had return video so that he could see us and we could see him, and he's sitting in front of like Big Ben, the nice setting in London, and he's promoting something at some album or whatever. But so we're talking, waiting for him to come on, and because he's still doing another interview, and we're vamping, and I talk about how, when my kids were little in the car and they'd hear Lady Madonna, they'd all giggle when they heard about Lady Madonna's breasts. Okay, and then we kept talking about other songs, and then he's ready and he comes on, and look at it, and the anchor's so genuflecting to him and obsequious, called him Sir Paul. Okay, fine, great. All right. He comes on and he goes, "Oh, so Bruce, what is this I hear about Lady Madonna's breasts?" So it was just like he started doing shtick with me. And so then I say, Paul, Big Ben is like 2 minutes off. Turns around and goes, "Oh, yeah, you're right." I mean, it was just the guy is aces in my book.
Wow.
And there's so much more to the story. It's one of my favorite. I mean, the only reason it wouldn't qualify as one of my favorite stories is because I didn't make him look like I enjoyed making people look like total jackwads. Okay, and he deserved to be a knight. He was wonderful. And he wasn't a jackwad, and couldn't
treat him like Pete Best. Could not do that.
No, yeah, he was a great guy, but anyway, so
sorry I derailed you. I thought
no, that's fine.
You were on
just
an
tell me,
Kingdom
Chris.
thought.
Just confirm this. It is worth watching all 6 seasons of Animal Kingdom. Am I right?
Sorry, my mic was off. Yes, 100%. I mean,
Okay.
it does it. I watched them. I binged them all in a row like a year ago. So
it doesn't end with "Don't Stop Believing" in a pool party where everybody drowns, right? It goes to black.
the ending is pretty wild.
Okay.
I can't say
Enough
anything
said.
without giving stuff.
Don't tell me anything more. Hey,
Right.
So
speaking of
there's not enough nudity in it for you there, Bruce? Because we're about halfway through the final season of White Lotus, and holy cow, are they obsessed with men's junk in that show?
You do know it's a gay guy who created that show.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Well, whatever. There's
there's going to be another season. I mean, you just saw the last one.
Oh,
right?
yeah. The final season that's out. It's just they're just obsessed with men's junk and that.
Hey, speaking of the ends of times, okay, did you see this? Dick Van Dyke is 100 years old right now. Okay, and
on every death pool in America.
I remember when I used to guest Bob Hope every year, and that guy kept living. I kept losing death pools, so he said he couldn't even understand why he's alive, because it's not like he lived, the greatest life. And I think he was a smoker and a heavy drinker for many, many years. I think that all those trips over the Ottoman probably shaved off 2 years of his life. But other than that, I don't know. Some people, have the genes, and it's good. So, all right. Al Franken has. I saw a picture of Al Franken. For those of you who like visuals, really nice, homey picture of Al Franken. And he's talking about his anniversary with his beloved wife. And she's sitting next to him. And she's, I think she's like 70 years old. Do we have that picture of Al Franken? Or, but anyway, he's sitting next to his wife, very nicely. And I mean, the picture absolutely begs for an AI version where he's cupping her breasts. I mean, come on. I mean, even Al Franken would have to appreciate that. I would hope so. But
it's obviously he's running for something, because he wants.
I don't think he's going to.
He wants everyone to know. Wants everyone to know he's forgiven. You don't think what?
Yeah, this is his 74-year-old wife. They got 2 kids, 4 grandchildren. He said he couldn't be happier, but they're just sitting next to each other, and he's not. He doesn't have his hands properly positioned.
That's not a whole lot there to cup, Bruce.
You know what? You didn't really have to say anything. Okay, I think that was
some people are listening on the radio.
For those of you breast impaired, I totally understand.
Now I'm going to find out that she had a double mastectomy, and I'm going to feel really
you're
bad.
Going to regret it. All right, final thing. Another Bobby Kennedy thing. Apparently, Joan Kennedy died. Okay. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. was just waxing eloquent and nostalgic about her.
That would have been his Aunt Joan.
Yeah, beloved aunt. It's just wonderful. But I think it needed, a little explanation. She was what a great woman. For those of you scoring at home, she was around 11 years into her marriage when Chappaquiddick occurred, and the marriage lasted around another 13 years. So that's tenacity. And,
especially considering she was cheated on like a golf pad.
I'm going to go watch Animal Kingdom. Nights from Tom Brokaw for Tim Slagle, Bruce Wolf. This has been the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.